excited to sit down with all these women. It's always interesting to read about a person or have an idea of someone and then get to the bottom of how they became who they became.
I am sort of a cultural anthropologist. I am an artist. I do have a magazine also called Paper.
I'm Jane Rosenthal, and I produce movies and television.
Just say your name and what you do.
My name is Christine, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Refinery 29.
My name is Jean Yang. I am a stylist and a co-designer and co-partner of Holmes & Yang, a clothing line.
This is my mother, Jill Abramson. She is the executive editor of the New York Times, the first woman to hold that position.
In that role.
My name is Renee Robinson, and I am a dancer.
What shapes your identity first? Being a woman, your career, or being a New Yorker?
It would probably be being a woman.
I mean, New York is really important to me. I am a New Yorker. I love New York. But also, I think the thing that I live for is inspiration.
I think probably being a New Yorker has had the biggest influence on me.
Definitely my career. I mean, I've always wanted to be a writer and an editor. You know, I've never ever doubted that for a second, and I think it's just like who I am.
I think my daughters shape me most.
Well, they're lucky.
Female leaders, those were my examples. In the dance business, you know, there are a lot of male choreographers, a lot of male artistic directors, but I was surrounded by all these female leaders.
What would you say was one of the most difficult times for you, and how did you get over it, and how did you believe that led you to where you are now?
When I tried to do amazing things in these big magazines, they always fell flat because I'd come with an amazing idea and then it would all go away and then it would come back unrecognizable to me. So I was like, the only way to do it, I have to do it myself. So I said, we have to do a magazine.
When I was Washington bureau chief for the Times, the executive editor of the Times at that point was kind of a domineering, strong personality editor who I didn't get along with too well.
He would offer Jill other jobs at the Times, and I was, yes, take it, do that, you'll be happy. And Jill, no, this is the job I want, it's the job I deserve, and I'm gonna just tough it out.
And how long did this go on?
For about 2 years. It didn't go on and on, but...
That's long.
That was long.
I started working for Department Store in their management training program because I thought that was the only thing you could really do in clothing. I hated my job and I got laid off. And I was really upset about it. My older brother pulled me aside and said, have you ever thought about actually doing something that you want to do, that you really like doing? Because things will come easier when you really like doing what you're doing.
I will say that as a working woman, I was told I could do anything, be anything I wanted, and I actually believed that. And I believed that for so long. And it really wasn't until the further along I got in my career where I realized there would be times I felt that I would be asked to be at the table or part of a board or something more because I was a woman and not because I really had the authority to be there.
What advice would you give a young girl, you know, moving to a big city right now, who maybe doesn't know what she's good at yet?
I know that everyone can't do this, but I always say, like, when kids want to go to graduate school, they want to keep going to school, I say instead of paying to go to school, just go and work somewhere for little or free, and just work for someone that you admire.
When you are in the environment of a workplace, you can gain more knowledge than sometimes in a classroom.
I certainly have learned more by my failures than my successes, and I've probably had more failures than successes.
If you continue to learn about life outside of the dance studio, outside of the dance world, the richer you are as a person, the more interesting you will be as a performer.
I feel like that is a wonderful piece of advice for everyone, quite honestly. And one of the reasons that I wanted to do this film was to inspire that age group that might be searching for what it is that they want to do. And I love what you're saying because I was raised in the same way.
There's a lot of energy, a lot of, sometimes nervous energy and insecurity, when you're young and you're starting out, and I think that you have like all these aspirations and you have these high hopes about like what you want to do with your life, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer than you think it's going to take.
How important are female relationships to you in your life? How do women support you? How do you support them?
I read a quote recently that said, there's a special place in hell for women who don't help each other out. And I really, truly believe that.
I love sharing information with young people about how to investigate what will be good for them to get to their best. And each person will have to find the specific details of what they will need to make their journey its most sparkly. So that's why I say I enjoy sharing what I have done in hopes that it leads them to what will be best for them.
Hey, Doc.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Pretty good.
He's my pal. I love him.
This is
He's
good.
Smart. He's funny.
It's our first time on screen together.
We're at the Comedy Store.